Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining the Team Libra show. Make sure to click that subscribe because trust me, you're going to want to hear when I have new content coming in. I'm going to get right into this. This whole Tamar Braxton situation, we're going to pick up where I left off. So basically, if you go back and watch my prior videos, I did cover Tamar Braxton, possible suicide attempt, as well as the letters that she has sent to her sisters, as well as his family members, as well as to the We Network. So anyhow, like I did, if you look at the prior video, they were basically upset because David Adefiso was coming in, and when he did his 911 tape, they said that he was giving Tamar Braxton's sister said that he was divulging too much information to the 911 and felt like he should have been more concerned about Tamar Braxton. So anyhow, they were basically trying to say he was controlling. He was the one that was upset about the WeTV network and the interview. And so I just didn't buy it because of the things that Tamar was saying in those letters that was released when she was allegedly in the hospital for possible suicide attempt. So anyhow, in the meantime, luckily, Tamar has spoken out. So I want to talk about what Tamar said as far as what happened and David Adefiso, as well as I want to talk about who I'm showing, and it just looks like who's more problematic. Is it David Adefiso or is it someone within Tamar Braxton's family? But let's go ahead and get started here. So it says here, Tamar Braxton, this was on her Twitter account. I'm just going to kind of skim through it, but it says, I came here just to say this, and then I'm logging off. If you have ever been in recovery or treatment, you know that you reflect on a lot of things. So I couldn't let another day, another second go by without publicly thanking my love, David Adefiso, for saving my life. She said, I'm so grateful. She said she was in their home, lifeless, and she knows that finding her that way that he did couldn't have been easy, but know that people coming at you saying all this crazy stuff isn't easy for me. People have called you every name in the book, talking about David Adefiso, to deflect from what's really going on. Through this entire time, you held my hand, you heard my cries, you held me, and when I have been weak, you have been my entire back. So I will not allow anyone to call you controlling. And that's that African man. Like, I don't have a mind of my own, because without this African man, I simply would not be here. Everything isn't political, and your love for me is not that. You were here for me when everybody was and still is. Oh, you were here for me when nobody was and still is. You and Logan are my priority. Thank you for being my rock. Now, and although I've been said yes in this old video now and then, I couldn't imagine what life would be like if you weren't by my side. Thank God I'm here, and thank God for you. So that's what she has said to David Adefiso. So David Adefiso comes in, he says, I love you and you love me. We love Logan together forever. So they're basically solidifying the fact. She's saying that he supported her. He's been there for her. No, he's not this controlling, crazy person. She's sick of people going around trying to switch the narrative. So let's look at I want to look at this letter that Tamar has sent. I'm just going to briefly recap what she was saying that she had been through. 1 second. So here's the article. This is an old article from July 17th when it was Tamar Braxton sent WeTV bosses a letter saying that they made her suicidal weeks ago. And this was dated July 17th, 2020. And it says, weeks before the apparent attempt to take her life, she had turned reality star sent a exorciating email to her network's bosses accusing them of destroying her family and making her suicidal. So when you go down, you guys can go pull up the article. This was on page 6 that I found this one. But it goes on to say she was, where she has these accusations. Wait a second. The accusations here, because now it's like only person, when you guys look at it, that was actually talking about David Adefisio, that was Toni publicly, is Tamar Braxton's siblings. So they come out just basically trying to twist the narrative. But like I said in my old video, you can't really twist the narrative because he hasn't been around. And she says that these things, hurtful things, has happened to her. Here it is. Meanwhile, while she said that the final stake in the heart of my family was the day you dug up a secret I never shared with anyone, a secret I was so ashamed of to talk about that I hid it from even my own mom. The fact that I had been assaulted and raped repeatedly from 6 to age 16, sometimes multiple times a day. Braxton said producers had exposed it on the show in front of her entire family, and 100 crew members. And she also added, you broke me that day and I consider ending my life and then for the shame that I felt. Okay, so that's what she said. Then she went to the hospital after this letter, and then David Adefisio was trying to help her. Then her sisters came out talking about, they're standing basically behind the network and that David Adefisio is the one that's mad, not Tamar. So now Tamar comes out, like I just read to you guys, and say, no, he's been there for me. He's not this horrible person. He's actually the one that's been here through it all. So now, let's see. So now she's saying from ages 6 to ages 16. Now she was supposedly born in 1977. So you'll be looking at about 1977, 78, 79, 80, about 1983, I think she was 6, supposedly, if you're going off of her birthday. But let's take a look at something as well. So she said she was 6 to 16 years old and he was raped repeatedly. So one second. So this is a part on an interview that Toni Braxton did, and it was a while ago where they were doing, I guess, a special, and on Toni Braxton, her mom and her was speaking, and so she says here how much older she is over Tamar. So just pay attention to this because it's going to be important later on. Just listen.
Time my youngest sister Tamar was born, I'm like 12 years older than her. We had like a little Braxton group, kind of like the Jacksons or the Silvers or what else was there? The Jets. And I played piano. My other sister played the drum.
Okay, so right there, she said that she was like 12 years older than Tamar. But right now, they're showing that her birthday, if you look on the Wikipedia, it says that her birthday is in like 67, and then Tamar's birthday is in 77. So she's actually 10 and a half years older. So why would somebody say such an odd number as in 12 when 10 is the real number? Unless you are 12 years older than her, but now you guys kind of changed the birthdays around saying 10. But let's take a look at something else about this whole weird age thing. Because then after they said 12, all of a sudden they started saying 10. But hang on one second. So here's the part on a video. This is a really good video. It says Nat Morris channel, and then it says reunion.com. But I'm just going to play a snippet just for the sole purpose of doing commentary. So let's just hang on, listen.
Not even 20.
Get out of here. Nah, you lying, for real?
I forgot I'm 19.
How old is Toni Braxton then?
29?
How old are you?
I'm 22.
Wow, so y'all like, it was a big gap.
Yeah.
How old are you?
23.
Yeah.
So as you see right there, she said she was 19 on this interview. And then she said that Toni Braxton was 29, so now they're saying a 10-year age gap. So, however, let's go back. So now we're going to see when did Toni Braxton, or when are they saying the earliest date that I could find of Toni Braxton, like, starting her music career. Let's see, one moment. Oh, yeah, one other thing. I'm going to replay that because when she said that she was 19 years old, and then listen to the little joke at the end where she say, and this is our real age.
Nah, you lying, for real?
I forgot I'm 19.
How old is Toni Braxton then?
29?
How old are you?
I'm 22.
Wow, so y'all like, it was a big gap.
Yeah.
How old are you?
23.
Yeah, okay.
That's our real age, okay?
So how many kids was it all together?
So as you see, she said, this is our real age, but that's because there was already other articles or interviews saying that Toni Braxton was 12 years older. So now we know that she's saying that if Toni Braxton is 12 years older than her, or even between 10 and 12. But let's just entertain what Toni Braxton said when she said she was 12 years older. But let's take a look at something. When did Toni Braxton, the first date that I could find, it may have been even sooner than this, but this is a date that I could find where she kind of first entered into like her career mode in the public. One moment.
In the Maryland area. In 1985, Toni had the good fortune of meeting a local record producer and songwriter who wanted to work with her.
Everyone always asks, how did I get discovered? I got discovered in the gas station. No one believes the story I tell it. They go, okay, this is a little publicity thingy. Not true, really true story.
Everybody had been talking about Toni, and they told me I need to go see her.
So basically, here's Bill Petaway, guys, and he's the one who had already produced Milli Vanilli, I believe, back in '88. So he's the one that he said that he hooked up with Toni Braxton. It was 1985. Toni Braxton is supposedly born in 1967, or is it? Yeah, I believe 67. And then 10 years later, that's Tamar, which they have on the Wikipedia. She was born in 77. So even if you take Toni Braxton entering basically her professional career in 1985, then Tamar Braxton was what, 77, 78, 79, 80, and then 85. She would have been 8 years old at 10 years. At 10 years older, like they have today on the Wikipedia. If that's correct, then Tamar would have been 8 years old when Toni Braxton entered her professional career, music career. Now, if we take the fact that Toni Braxton is 12 years older, like Toni Braxton said in the earlier part of this video, if we take that for Bible, then that means, guess what? Tamar Braxton was 6 years old, if that's the case. Because in 85, that means that Toni Braxton would have been, what, let me see, 67, 77, 87. So she would have been 18. She would have been 18. And if she's 12 years older than her sister, then her sister would have been 6. And like she said that she said that she was repeatedly raped numerous times, sometimes multiple times a day, from ages 6 to 16. This is where she was with her family. She was with her siblings. So there, right there, is going to show that there's some sort of, this is the problem right here. This is where the issue started. It looks like it started once that fame stepped in and kicked in, and Tamar was set in the crossfire, and she was the youngest, and she had no control. That's what it looks like to me, based off of what all of these stories is and what they're saying. So Toni Braxton even probably could have been in a professional career, who knows doing what, because I know she even mentioned something about singing backup as well on one of her older shows, but I don't have any information. But this is the information that I have that's showing that at least as soon as 1985. Now, so that's something there you have to look at. So David Adefisio wasn't there, but Toni Braxton had met up with some people, you know, in the industry at that point in 85, and you hear about all the child stars and celebrities that get hurt in the industry lately, been coming up. But also she said that she had worked with R. Kelly, I believe, like on one of those old interviews. If you go back and look on the one where she was laughing, saying that she was 19. Well, on that same interview, she was talking about that. Talking about she had worked with R. Kelly. Then she also said she wanted to say hi to Aaliyah and started laughing. Her girl Aaliyah. Then there's also pictures with Aaliyah as well that Tamar has, and the Braxton sisters. Another weird discrepancy I want to touch base on is the fact that they said that Trina Braxton couldn't, Traci Braxton couldn't sign with Atlantic Records because she was pregnant at the time. And so that's why Traci Braxton is supposedly mad and holding his bitterness and things like that. But after looking at the some research, let's take a look here. 1 second. Okay, so let's just look real fast at the Braxtons, and then we'll be winding this up. But the Braxtons is showing here that the Braxtons, Toni, Traci, Tawanda, Trina, and Tamar, so they signed their first record label in 1989. So that's their first one. And in 1989, they did The Good Life. So then from there, that was with Arista Records. And then from there, they went over and then started working with L.A. Reid and So that flopped, I guess, basically that song. But Toni Braxton supposedly got the attention of L.A. Reid as well as Babyface eventually. And then they went ahead and signed her, I guess, in 1991. Then she came out with her record either in 91 or 92. So then after that, they didn't want her sisters at that time. But then after that, when Toni left the group, the other members just became backup singers for her. And then Traci, Tawanda, Trina, and Tamar was featured in the music videos. So in 1993, though, LaFace Records A&R Vice President Bryant Reed, he signed the Braxtons to LaFace Records. Now this looks kind of weird because, however, the group never released an album or single for the record label. And when Reed moved to work with Atlantic Records, he convinced LaFace to allow him to take this group to Atlantic Records with him. And so they signed with Atlantic Records in 1994 with a 3-album deal. So they said that they signed with Atlantic Records in 1994. Remember that date. So it was reported in the Vibe magazine in 1995 that Traci Braxton had left the group to pursue a career as a youth counselor. However, it was not confirmed until 2004 when Tawanda Braxton appeared in season 2 of the reality show Starting Over that Traci was not allowed to sign with Atlantic because supposedly she was pregnant at the time. So they do have things, if you go back and watch like some videos and everything, it'll show you a lot about, Traci very upset about the situation, but they don't really get too deeply involved in it. Well, I just want to take a little bit deeper look. So they said that they signed with Atlantic Records in 1994, but that Traci couldn't sign because she was pregnant or Traci couldn't move forward because she was pregnant at the time. That's what they said, was not allowed to sign with Atlantic Records. So they're telling us that they signed with Atlantic Records in 1994 and she did not sign with them. Okay, they said she was pregnant. Let's take a look at something. Okay, so 1 second here. So they only talk about Traci Braxton having one son, and she had this son with her husband. And so right here, if you look on here, even Googling, it says Kevin Jr. turned 24 on January 10th. And this was 2020. The article was dated January 24th, 2020. And said he turned 24 on January 10th. And the article was a week or two later. So if he turned 24 in January 10th, that means that he was born in 1996. Let's see, 1 second. Okay, so I'm pulling up my calculator. So let's start over. Okay, so let's see, this is 2020 minus 24 years because he's 24 years old. That puts you at 1996 right there, okay? Oh. Wait. So everyone, also here is Trina, the other sister. It says Gabe Solis is not, this article was in August 2016, okay? So it says that, it says Gabe Solis is not the father of Eric and Caleb, who is Trina's children. Trina married Gabe in 2003, and Eric was 8, and Caleb was 5. And the boys grew up in Sewanee, Georgia, with the last name Mojica, but there is little information regarding their biological father. Braxton Family Value airs on Thursday. Okay, this was in 2016. Now, let's go and see. If the one boy was 8 in 2003, let's see when was he born. 1 second.